Sikole ngambulo luku. With whatever we do. Afunola. With whatever we do. Hale yidem. Nyepamne ne kudlukula. Nyepangi ragala. Nyepamne ne kudlukula. Ibuloke nongoto ni beti sola. Ibuloke dato ni betoto.
Mingi Congo.
Lamin.
Na?
Lamin te jibe norin te nyamen Lamin.
Kabana wulo kono.
Wulo kono ñin tay mo Lamin.
Pa bilenki.
Muna ngata afamole.
Hayna.
Ngata. Ngoto le. Fabrama.
Mingi. Baba nyole.
Ngoto le Fabrama.
Namu jumara kan kuma diten.
Fabrama.
Jumara mu.
So.
Nunda mana.
Famo kata.
Jamani mbere.
Alendo ko.
Jamani.
Bari ngoto mon kontande.
Bari jamani bana na mudu.
Ngoto minaka ngala min de fon filitala. Lamin jibe nori nyala.
Lamin ila siran sama ne benki. Yala so tol sayndi no bo ngol ko momo.
Ngoto.
Nam.
Iterinte alo ne Lamin hakkilo diata bake karamu ngoto. Anu sante ministry ko di ngole si suwo ko amake ko do woni
si bitun
Bagona ringa.
ala ni ko de namo balo
ala ni na ko na karta bulo be damna ala ni je
ngoto
nam
ngoto mon kontan fere
jamani mu nekata
ite ka Lamin ki wulo ko no nyin tay mon ko do fete malo Lamin nyande sila la be la moy kala karam
jamani karam wol be soron ne ko fasita wulo ko ko
karam wol ma ko ni ko karam wol soron da ma ngoto dini wonyanta sila la ala karango la moy yamen kamen fue man kontan anda man
kombo kurang ada ndalo kombo ndo la jankara mol soron da doro kamen kurang ma ra do kombo e don do fana na karam mol soron je karam mol soron Lamin ada lo ni no la man tara fe na so kon ala mu nekela
am Lamin ite fete malo ko le sinol de ke kar radio to
Nga fine.
e ko yana di mod Lamin ya mu na fonye
kabin mina kan tambita nteri maning Fatu
ha
tambite la suko ala dinni wol bebe siri be la moyka
faru danso am fanan kamira jere ni subala la ngaje dinni wol be jet talanta nen kili waro e be serin jelet
sa Lamin farante ku kili woke no la ba Lamin bita ka wulo ko no nyin taymo arami
amandara fennela
ite dine ko ni man siri kari la sino la moy radio to e balon nan
muneka ke afende ma nyaro ni alon
telentel jikot
afende ma muneka ke
ite balon tel be jikritel ni man karambe ku kele yaje nata karana mbasa malaya ay tarije
bar nyarande kombo kurang ho findira kombo ile na yede ni sonka bay ko Lamin ma nyata la wulo ko
ko to wole nati bawo ngalle ni Lamin kuntala kombo kurang e ka fa me kombo kurang asototal wala kine ko e si suwo kono bari ni ko e si suwo kono be karangol dike la radio ni telel to hani tele masoto to nya man tele soto la bongo bar radio be bulan koto batiri sanga ay si ay alamo
sa do kala
ko ta o bulay kamun ke nyaadi
radio abo la mola be mona falaje
ibe la karandirol kala jele
ti talle be radio ko men ka
ile subject ro baby jele baby jele
wala nanga chocho moy fa dan so wala ngomme tambi kana ngadi ngol de be ikadum bu ko de kala
ma asototal de
Lamin mala be kara wala de
Bari laftalal ideal on ko inde every year second wala fourth
muna ni ko di ko de ko folle sinila ba ndele sinila ne ba
mba say mba foke yon koto wole fango yen wulindi yalo famo keta bat ñu fanam bulata ko ko do me yen nati jambi Lamin nyanta karana ndel be jiko be nyineka ya bulay kara wulo kana ta kilar ya bambalo yo be bulaje koto di
wara ka munda kara mo man so Lamin nyanta kara si so na regular
silale ayala le sido
dal ko korno ko smalo
kilar ya
be bin ko mo say mi do ni ko no kera
nengi bruzo
am na ko la da baro sa no re ba no bari woro radio ni abe je le ba ngam ro do man me buljan dala nyara nyar ro ko fendi mo la Lamin tayra ba ro sa
bara ke ku folo tamete
mingi mun na de
teku
famo ke
ja image nani nyambo si zol le keje kisigi man si zol no le kabum ka nyoma bari nyambo kilo ni manya na kafindi ni nambe ko zol la ga
ngale limbeta de be nyambo do dilanna
nyara ni ko ridin fennat nyara nata
bari famo ke da
ngata bungono tambi bungono vele ko ke baru ngam ni pelo la ndija
iyo
bungono bismillah bisu diara
pendulala yefungo tanka sina dulu tanka koro ta
Good day, wonderful viewers. My name is Amejaite. If you can recall, I came here to teach you some literature lessons. And today, I am here to continue from where we stopped. If you can fully recall, the last class, we looked at Introduction to Literature. We looked at the types of literature, the types of literary work, which talks to us about the branches and the genres of literature. We looked at the branches into detail, and we started with drama, the types of drama, and we moved to the elements of drama, which we could not complete, time factor. So today we are here to continue from where we stopped. The last one that we looked at was humor, plot, and climax, and today we will move on to conflict. You have to still understand that we are still on the elements of literature, and the first element that we have today to continue is conflict. Every literary work must have a conflict. Now, conflict refers to the bone of contention, that is the push and pull between the antagonists. Every drama must have a conflict, that is the bone of contention, that is that particular thing that the protagonist is eyeing, and also that particular thing that the antagonist is eyeing. So there must be a conflict in every literary work that we have to do. Now, from conflict, we now have to move to the next one, that is called a tension. Conflict and tensions are somehow related. Now, tension here refers to the strain in a relationship arising from the different conflict between the leading figures in a play. If the protagonist and the antagonist are having a problem, which we call the conflict. Now, their conflict is what gives birth to a tension in a movie. Without conflict, we cannot have a tension. So, from conflict, the conflict creates an atmosphere of tension in a literary work, which may ultimately result to a hostility or a clash of 2 or more characters on stage. Now, from the tension, remember we are still with the elements of drama. From tension, we move to what we call resolution or denouement. In every drama, we have what we call resolution or denouement. If there is a problem between the protagonist and the antagonist, obviously at the end of the day, we must know one who is on the wrong side, and then we must for reconciliation at the end of every literary work. So denouement is also called resolution. So it is the final stage when actors and actresses come together to settle their differences. Maybe Fatu has been having grief over Lamin, and at the end of the day, the issue came to light, and then they resolved their differences and became one. So resolution is also otherwise called denouement, which is the final part of any literary work or drama. From the resolution or denouement, we have to move on to what we call dilemma. Dilemma is a situation that has been confronting everyone. So dilemma is a situation in which a performer is faced with serious decision to choose between evil and good. If you are faced with two difficult situations to choose from, it means you are in a serious dilemma, which will eventually determine your fate. So when you are faced with two difficult situations and you are asked to choose, it means that you are in a dilemma. An example of that is when you are asked to choose between your mother and father. It's a dilemma because it's highly difficult for you to choose one of them. So that's an example of a dilemmatic situation that we might find ourselves in. So from dilemma, we move to what we call suspense. Now, suspense is another element of drama that is employed by very intelligent writers. Now, suspense is usually employed by intelligent playwrights to arouse anxiety, which holding a very vital piece of information. When this happens, a curiosity and a crave for continuation is prompted in the audience. When you are watching a movie or you are watching a theatrical entertainment, and you ought to see a truth, you have the urge to see a truth. but the dramatist or the playwright is always pushing the truth from coming to light at an early stage. That will create some suspicion and anxiety in you to further follow up the movie or the write-up to know what happened to the very end. So anxiety put into audience is what we call a suspense. From there, we move to another one that we call a foreshadow. Now, a foreshadow, this is an indication or a warning or a sign about a future event. It is a caution about the possible effect of one's action. From foreshadow, we now move to what we call a flashback. Now, this is a very strong element of drama, play or prose. It is primarily meant to recall past events while it interrupts a current event. Sometimes you'll be watching a movie and you will see characters thinking about what has already happened in the past. So when that past is brought into the current event is what we call a flashback, because you have already flashed back into what has already happened, and that flashback has interrupted the present situation. So when we recall to past events, it means we are doing what? We are flashing back. It brings back to help the audience to know some events which happened before, so as to guide guide or direct their thought. From that, we move to what we call a chorus. Chorus in literature. Now, these are a set of people whose poetic songs set the mood in a play. It is usually held from the background. Sometimes you'll be watching certain movies and you will be hearing songs, cries of people that you will be hearing from the background. These are a set of people who are only set from the background to be given us songs or even poetic, but they will not be shown in the drama itself, but it will be something that will be coming from the background. From that, we move to another element of drama that we call an aside. Now, an aside in drama refers to a situation in which the person talks to himself while alone on stage. Sometimes characters are left alone on stage. So while you talk to yourself alone on stage without being heard by actors and actresses, but you will be heard by the audience, is what we call aside. Take note. When characters are alone on stage, talking to themselves, while other characters are not getting them, but the audience are getting us, that is what we call aside. It is only heard by audience to enable them know his inner feeling or thought, and possibly help the audience medium or exposition more easily. From aside, we move to what we call soliloquy. Take note, because these are two terms that students have been confusing. So from aside, we look at soliloquy. Now, soliloquy is simply a speech made by an actor or actress to him or herself. Now, soliloquy also is to him or herself, regardless of hearers, while alone on stage. The speaker merely expresses his thought or feeling or recall the past, especially when in a dilemma or when simply trying to ponder about an action or a step. From that, we look at an element of drama that we call a travesty. Travesty is another element of drama. It is a humorous comic show, that is a burlesque, in which a character is asked to play the role of the opposite sex. When, due to lack of characters, sometimes you may ask a woman to act in the position of a man in a drama that is well dressed up in a way a man dresses, and then is asked to act a drama behaving like a woman, or a woman behaving like a man, is what we call travesty. This is used due to lack of characters or whatsoever. But when a woman acts as a man and a man acts as a woman in a literary work, is what we call travesty. Thus results in inadequate representation or efficient display. Put very simply, travesty is a disguise in performance from woman to man and vice versa. Take note, travesty is when a man dresses like a woman dresses like a man to act in a play. From that, we look at what we call another element that we call hubris. Hubris is an element of drama which refers to extreme confidence in a character. stubbornness or pride, which makes a hero ignore advice or warning that would have made him or her a very good character. It ultimately leads to his downfall. Sometimes you watch movies and you see characters who are very good and who, when had listened to advice, being triumph at the end of the day, but because they don't listen to advice, because they are too confident of themselves, or because too stubborn, or they are too proud of themselves, they refuse to listen to advice, and at the end of the day, their downfall or death. That is what we call a hubris in literature. Still, remember that we are still dealing with the elements of drama. We're still on it, and the list continues. From hubris, we now look at fable. Now, fable, this is a short story or a narrative, usually feigned or cooked up, that is fabricated, in which several objects, including non-human, are made to act and speak with human interest and passion in order to teach a moral lesson. Put very simply, a fable is a literary work which uses animals as characters, like Mickey Mouse is a fable. It uses animals as characters, and at the end of the day, it teaches moral lesson. So fable is an element of drama which uses animals as characters and also teaches moral lesson. From fable, we move to another element of drama that we call mime. Now, mime, this is a play which is based on gestures and actions with no speech. It is non-verbal. When people are brought to act on stage, and instead of uttering out words, they are using actions to communicate to each other. They are using actions to communicate to the audience, that we call a mime. A mime is non-verbal, but it is a play that is based on what? Gesture and action. From mime, we move to another element of drama that we call imagery. Imagery is another element of drama. Now, images are used by a writer to create mental pictures on the minds of readers or audience. Both images help to facilitate the writer's attempt to project his or her tone to the audience. From imagery, again, tragedy is another element of drama. So apart from it being a type, it also remains as one of the elements of drama. Now, tragedy is a kind of play in which the hero or the heroine dies in the end. It usually has a very sad ending. That death may be due to external forces that are beyond his control. So a drama that has a sad event, that has a sad ending, and then a drama that the protagonist dies at the end of the day due to forces that are beyond his control, is what we call a tragedy. From that, we look at tragic flaw. Now, tragic flaw, this is simply a costly mistake by the hero or the heroine, which may result to his death or fall of the hero or heroine. This may be his. We all have flaws. That means we all have our but. So when a character, irrespective of his but, takes hasty decision or maybe lack of his firmness, that his but, the result of his but is what causes his flaw. So when the result of the but of a character result to his fall is what we call his tragic flaw. Everyone has a tragic flaw. So when it affects a character greatly, to the extent that he or she dies at the end, is what we call a tragic flaw. From that, we move to the next element that is called a clown. Clown. Now, what you hear people most of the times, they will say, he's just a clown, don't mind him, he's just a clown. Now, a clown is a very funny person who does the most humorous actions in a drama. He's only brought to arouse laughter from the audience. From that, we move to the mood. Now, mood and tone are somehow related, so you have to be very careful when dealing with them. Now, mood here, the mood of the writer while composing his write-up is clearly influenced by his tone. Now, when your present mood is what determines the tone that you use. So, mood is the prevailing circumstance, and then tone is the inner voice that I portray. If I am happy, definitely my a very nice tone that I will use that you will understand very well. But if I am not happy, maybe I'm sad or maybe being affected by some social factors outside, when I speak, that has to reflect. So mood is the circumstance, the prevailing circumstance that are surrounding the writers at the point of writing, and then tone is the inner voice that he portrays while writing. So take note of the two. Now mood, it says the mood of the writer while composing his write-up clearly influence the writer's tone of writing. We move to the next one that we call lampoon. Lampoon is another element of drama. Lampoon is a play in which an insulting and satirical attack is poured on a person, institution, or a government regime. When you use nasty statement on a particular person, or maybe you insult the person, it means excessively in a play. It means that lampoon on the person. That we call an eponymous is a literary work in which the title is named after the main character, like Harry Potter. Harry Potter is an eponymous character because the title of the movie is named after a protagonist, a character in a movie. So when the name of a movie is derived from the name of one of the actors, that is what we call an eponymous. Of course, we have what we call eponymous hero or eponymous heroine. So we have Harry Potter, we have Aisha, and etc. That takes us to the end of elements of drama. We're going to look at a classwork. Remember, the classwork is based on what has been discussed already. So we're going to start from number one, and number one, which says that in a literary work, the dramatis personae is referred to as das. I'm going to take you through the reading, then later we can look at the answers together. Now, number one says in a literary work, the dramatis personae is referred to as das. Number two, the use of words which stand for something else is termed das. Number three, das refer to the place and the time an action takes place. Number four, in poetry, prose and drama, what greatly influences a writer is his or her das. Number five, in a literary work, the central idea is known as das. Number five, das refer to the series of practice done by actors and actresses to enhance perfection. Number seven, das is a person who writes a play. Number eight, in a stage performance, the written lines which actors and actresses study are called das. Number nine, cutlasses, rakes, or cooking utensils are called das in literature. Number 10, characters are divided into das and das. Number 11, das uses animals as characters and teaches moral lesson. Number 12, the leading character in a literary work is called das. Number 13, das is the enemy of the protagonist and he or she is otherwise called das. Number 14, das is the problem between the protagonist and the antagonist. Number 15, das is used to recall past events. Now we will answer these questions together. We will start with number one. In a literary work, the dramatis personae is referred to as cast. Cast is the answer there. Remember we said these are people who act in a play. Number two, the use of words which stand for something else is termed as symbolism. Remember, I even used an example of the national flag to show you that the red stands for something else. The white symbolizes, the red symbolizes the sun, the white symbolizes peace, the blue symbolizes river, and the green symbolizes culture. So when one thing stands for something else in a literary work, that is what we call symbolism. Number three, das refer to the place and the time an action takes place. Obviously, the answer is certain because certain talks about the time and the place an action takes place. Number four, in poetry, prose and drama, what greatly influences a writer is his or her mood. The prevailing circumstance is what greatly influences your mood, your tone. So mood is the correct answer there. Number 5, in a literary work, the central idea is known as the theme. Number 6, dance refers to the series of practice done by characters to enhance perfection. That is what we call a rehearsal. Number 7, dance is a person who writes a drama. We call him a playwright or a dramatist. Number 8, in a stage performance, the written lines which actors and actresses study are called cue. Number 9, cutlasses, rakes, and cooking utensils are otherwise called prop. Number 10, characters are divided into actors and actresses. Number 11, dance uses animals as characters and teaches moral lesson. We call it a fable. Number 12, the leading character in a literary work is called the protagonist. Dance is the enemy of the protagonist and is otherwise called. Antagonist is the enemy of the protagonist and he or she is otherwise called the villain. Number 14, dance is the problem between the protagonist and the antagonist. The conflict is the problem between the antagonist and the protagonist. Now, number 15, dance is used to recall past events that is what we call a flashback. So I hope with the examples that we have given and the classwork has really enhanced your understanding about the elements of drama. So I hope you have enjoyed the lesson. Remember to stay home and stay safe so that you can help and every other institution in fighting against the deadly coronavirus. I thank you very much for your attention. Till we meet again.